today we are going to be discussing our chapter 2, our new chapter. This is going to be section 1. We're going to be learning about interval notation. So I'll go ahead and have you write that on the top of your notes. So interval notation is going to involve number lines that we've been talking about with our inequalities, but this time we're going to have to graph based on what we're given, or if we're given a number line, we're going to have to explain what that means. So with that, okay, we're going to have our number lines, all right, and they're going to be labeled. So let me just go ahead and draw this number line, and I'm just going to say this is -4, and go down the line like this. Okay, so we're going to see stuff like this. If I have this dot right here, okay, and it's going to continue and go past this way. So we have to label what this number line is going to look like. So if I change that to black, let's go ahead and see that as black, okay. It's going to look something like this. So with this number line, what we're going to have to do is explain. So we need to see where it starts. So it's going to start right here at our 1. So with our 1, okay, we know 1 is going to be our first number. So we do need to identify, though, is with this number, is it filled in or is it not? If it is filled in, what we're going to do is that means it includes 1. So what I need to do is I need to put a bracket right here, because that bracket means it's going to include the number 1. So it's greater than or equal to 1. So then 1's our first number, and I'm going to put a comma, all right, and then I need to put for my next number where it continues. But if we look at the number right here, we can look that the line keeps on going and it goes on forever with this arrow. If it goes on forever, okay, we don't know the end point, so we know it's going to go an infinite amount. Since it's going on forever, what we're going to do is we're just going to put infinity, and we're just going to mark it with that infinity sign. And then when you have that infinity, you're just going to add in a parentheses, and right there is your answer. So you just leave it as bracket 1, comma, infinity, and whenever you have an infinity, okay, you'll just have that a parentheses. So let's go ahead and move up just a little bit, and let's look at a new number line. So I got this in black here, okay. And let's say this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, and -4. Okay, let's say this time, okay, we got our dot right here, okay. And then I'm going to change to blues just so we can see it. The arrow is going to go this way, okay. When we make our statement, okay, we always need to start with our least amount to the most, okay. So if we notice, okay, the circle is right here at 2, all right, and then it's going to the left, so there's nothing greater than 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my comma there, and I'm going to put my 2 right here, okay, because that's where it ends. Now we need to look at the circle. Is this a filled in circle or an open circle? All right, this time, since it is an open circle, it does not include the number 2. So since it does not, we need to put in a parentheses. So when it does not include that number, it's going to be in a parentheses. Now let's look at the arrow, okay? It continues on forever to the left. And if we notice, okay, it's going to the negative numbers, going to the negative amount of numbers. So since it's going to the negative amount, all right, and it goes on forever, this is going to be negative infinity. All right, and since it's an infinity, I'm just going to put in a parentheses. So our interval notation is going to be from negative infinity all the way to 2. So it's going to be any amount in between negative infinity and 2. Let's just do one more example before we look at a couple extra. So if we look at this example right here, okay, and this time I'm going to put -6. And this is going to be my number line right here. So with this, okay, I'm going to change it back to blue. And let's say that we have a filled-in circle, something that looks like this. All right, so if we look at this one, okay, we notice there's two lines and there's nothing in between those two lines right here, okay? So with that, okay, we're gonna have two statements. So let's look at our first one on the left right here. All right, we notice, okay, we have it right here at 4 and it's a filled circle. So if it's a filled circle, what does that mean? It means that it's gonna be include the number. So it includes the number, okay? We have to decide if it's a bracket or in a parentheses. Since it includes, we're gonna put that bracket right there, okay? And then we notice it's continuing all the way on, okay? So it's going all the way to the left. And since it's going on to the negatives and we don't know when it ends, okay, that's gonna be negative infinity. And we're just gonna go ahead and put in the parentheses there, okay? All right, this covers the number line right here. And we gotta figure out what we have to do with this gap because it still continues on with -1 to 0. So if we notice there, all right, we need to make our other line because it can be any number included. So if we notice right here, I'm going to go ahead and put a -1 because this one is where it starts right here. And since it's a filled circle, we're also going to put another bracket right here. Okay, and then we're going to put our comma. And if you notice, it's going to continue on forever. So what is that going to be? It's going to be infinity. All right, we're going to put a parentheses. Now the biggest thing that you need to know is when you have two statements like this, so you have this one right here and this one right here. Oops, I didn't mean to draw. This one right here. What we need to do and put in between is this symbol right here, okay? It looks like a U. What this symbol means is it means or. So it can be negative infinity to -4 or -1 to infinity, okay? So it's gonna look something just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples and what you will see in your homework. So let me go ahead and set this to landscape. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can look at these examples. Okay, so on this first one, if we can see, sorry, trying to zoom in a little bit. Oops. All right, it says graph the interval represented in interval notation on the number line. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. The first thing that we need to know, okay, we have this U right here, okay? And that means it's or, so we're gonna have two different values. Okay, so let's identify the points that we have. So we notice right here, okay, we have our -5. So let's go ahead and mark that on our number line. And if you notice, it's in a parentheses. Okay, so does that mean it includes it or not? So since it does not include it, we need to put our open circle right here on the 5. All right, since we have an open circle and it goes to -infinity, we're just gonna draw that arrow. It's gonna continue on forever to the left. Okay, so now let's look at our other one, okay? Our number right here is 2, okay? Does this 2 have a bracket? It does not, and it's in a parentheses, so this means it does not include 2 as well. So we're gonna put an open circle right at 2, and then it continues all the way to infinity. So I'm just gonna put arrow, and there we go. This is exactly how you would mark it. So that's perfect. Okay, so it looks something just like that. Now you'll also have examples. If we look at this number 2 right here, okay, express the interval shown on the number line. So we gotta create our interval notation. Well, first thing we need to look at, okay, there's a gap. Okay, so that means we're gonna have a U. So let's just go ahead and put that, and that's gonna tell us, okay, we're gonna have two different examples. So let's look at our first one on the left here, okay, because we gotta start in our smaller amounts. Okay, let's identify what this number is. This number, okay, is in between -8 and -6, so it's gotta be -7. So I'm gonna put -7, all right, and since it's an open circle, are we gonna put in a parentheses or a bracket? All right, we should put in parentheses, okay? It's gonna be something just like that. Put my comma here, and if you notice the arrow goes on forever, so that's gonna go all the way to -infinity. All right, and I'm gonna put my parentheses right there. So that's the first step. Okay, we got our U telling us it's or. Okay, so let's mark our next one. All right, we have an open circle right at 2. So I'm gonna mark my 2 right here, and then I gotta put in a parentheses or a bracket. All right, with this, I'm gonna put, since it's an open circle, we need to put parentheses, comma, arrow continues on forever, right? And that's gonna go to infinity, all right? And there you go. All right, let's look at another example. So let's go ahead and look at this one right here. Number 3. Express the interval shown on the number line. Okay, this time we just see 1, so we do not have to worry about putting our u. Okay, there's only 1, so we don't have to write that down. We're just gonna put 1 symbol. So let's mark, okay, let's see. Okay, it's right at -2 in that open circle. So since it's an open circle, all right, we either do bracket or parentheses. So since it's open, we're gonna put that parentheses there. All right, and then since it's going to the left, okay, we need to put our number to the left. All right, it's gonna continue on forever. So since it continues on forever to the left, we're gonna put that negative infinity, and there is our answer right there. So that is perfect. Finally, let's look at these last two. All right, we have to graph this one right here. Okay, if we're graphing this, okay, we just see 1 and 5. Okay, so this one's not going to be long, but let's identify where our 1 is first. So it's going to be right here. So I'm going to put my circle right here. All right, biggest thing we have to realize is this a bracket or a parentheses? All right, right here we can see it's a bracket. So if it's a bracket, that means it includes 1. So we're going to go ahead and fill that circle in. Okay, and then we have to go all the way to 5. All right, 5 is not too far away, so I'm going to put my circle right here at 5. And then again, we look, okay, it's a bracket, so that means I'm going to fill it in again. All right, and then it's every number in between, so I'm just going to put a line in between, and there you go. There's your answer for that one. So it includes 1, includes 5, and everything in between. All right, let's look at our last one right here. Okay, we got to graph this last one, -6 to infinity. So let's identify. First, we need to identify where our -6 is. Okay, I'm going to go all the way over here, and notice my -6 is right here. Okay, put my circle there, and then I need to see if I need to fill it in or not, right? I look right to the -6, and I notice a bracket. Since it's a bracket, okay, we know it includes -6, so we got to fill that in. Then we look to the right, okay, and it goes on forever to infinity. So with that, we're just going to connect and create an arrow, and it's going to go on forever to the right. Okay, and that is all you're doing today, and that is all for our section 1. If you have questions, you may work together, or you can ask the peer mentor, and if not, you can look at Delta Math and look at those show examples, and that can help you if you are struggling, or you can watch those help videos. All right, if you have any questions, just feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as you can. All right, this assignment is going to be due on Monday, but I'd like you to try to finish it today in class.